Good morning, it's 7:27. I'm Rich Teddemer. We're following breaking news right now. NBC is reporting that one of the Marines killed in Thursday's deadly shooting in Tennessee is a Western Mass native. 40-year-old Thomas Sullivan grew up in Springfield. He was one of 4 Marines gunned down in a suspected homegrown terror attack in Chattanooga, Tennessee. 22 News reporter Laura Hutchinson is live in the newsroom after talking to friends of the victim this morning.
We found out this morning that Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan was one of the Marines killed in Chattanooga, Tennessee Thursday in a suspected homegrown terror attack. The 40-year-old Marine is from Springfield. He graduated from Cathedral High School and his family still lives here. His brother Joe owns Nathan Bill's Bar and Restaurant in Springfield. I was over there this morning when the other restaurant owner, John Sullivan, who's actually not related to the family, he was hanging a U.S. Marine Corps and American flag to honor Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan. And while I was there, a number of people stopped in to send their condolences.
When it comes close to home, I guess it hurts a lot more. But my heart goes out obviously to the family. They've got to be crushed by this. And again, myself being a stranger, I'm crushed by it.
John Sullivan told us that he expects some family and friends to gather at Nathan Bill's today to honor the life of their hometown hero.
Springfield native Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan was one of the 4 Marines killed in Chattanooga, Tennessee in Thursday's suspected terror attack. 22 News working with you tonight with live team coverage of this story. We begin with 22 News reporter Alessandra Martinez, who joins us live in Hamden, where Sergeant Sullivan's family lives.
I'm live here in Hamden. This is the center of town. It's actually a very rural, small, tight-knit community. And you can see the flag behind me is lowered to half-mast. It is actually on behalf of Governor Charlie Baker, who asked that all of them be lowered to half-staff in honor of the 4 Marines who have died yesterday in Chattanooga, Tennessee, including Sergeant Thomas Sullivan, who is a Western Mass native. Right now, you are looking at the procession live as it travels up 91 North from Bradley International Airport towards Springfield. This is the procession that is carrying Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan's body home to Springfield. We've been showing you live updates of that procession as it traveled north, and there has been already such a warm show of support from people throughout Springfield as they welcome home this hero. Now, if you can't make it out tonight, there is still another opportunity for you to show your support with American flags and to pay your respects to this hero. The family is also welcoming the public to do the same thing along the streets following the funeral on Monday. These public shows of support, the family invited you to do this. It was important to them to allow the public, invite the public to be able to show their support in some way, because some of these parts of the service are strictly private. The funeral on Monday morning is solely for Sullivan's family, close friends, and the family also wanted to reserve the rest of the space in that church, Holy Cross, which holds about 600 people. They all wanted all the rest of those pews to be filled with his brothers, the Marines.
Good evening and welcome to 22 News at 6. I'm Juliana Mazza.
And I'm Julie McDonald. Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan of Springfield is just returning home right now, more than a week after he was killed in a suspected terror attack in Tennessee.
The body of Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan landed at Bradley International Airport in Windsor Locks, Connecticut just over an hour ago. That's where he was reunited with his family.
And we've been showing you live updates over the past hour. The Springfield police are now currently escorting his body to Sampson's Chapel of the Acres Funeral Home on Tinkham Road in Springfield. Western Massachusetts people are showing their support for this fallen hero by lining up all along Sumner Ave to salute that procession. 22 News reporter Alessandra Martinez is live on Sumner Ave after speaking with some of those supporters. That's right. You can take a look behind me. You can see just how many people are here waiting for Sergeant Thomas Sullivan. Many of them are calling him by the nickname Tommy. People are holding flags. They've made posters, and they are waiting to pay their respect at any moment right now. We believe that the procession should be coming down Sumner Avenue in just a few moments. Now, about 20 minutes ago, the procession left at Bradley International Airport with the Springfield police and the Sullivan family. His body is coming down here on Sumner Avenue and is going to the Sampson's Chapel of the Acres Funeral Home in Tinkham Road. The Sullivan family is inviting the public to show their respect here on Sumner Avenue right now from Palmyra Street heading west. And one man told 22 News why he is here to show his support.
I just want to pay my respects. You know, my father was a Marine, so I can't even imagine what they're feeling, but definitely that he was a hero and that I want to thank them and him for everything and all his service that he did.
You're asked to bring flags and salute during the bodies procession and be sure to park off the street. This is a live look right now at Sumner Avenue. You can see down the street that people are holding their flags and you can see the procession is starting right now. Take a look at your screen. This is a live look of the police bringing down Sergeant Sullivan's body at the moment. This is a live look right now on Sumner Avenue here in Springfield of Sergeant Thomas Sullivan's body being carried down towards the funeral home, Sampson's Funeral Home in Springfield.
Many people from all over Western Massachusetts said goodbye to Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan today. 22 News reporter Ashley Afonso is live in Springfield after speaking to those who attended today's services.
Thousands came here to Sampson's Chapel of the Acres in Springfield today to say goodbye to Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan. The wake was open to the public. It started at 1 this afternoon and finished just an hour ago. Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan was a decorated Marine who did 2 tours in Iraq and was awarded 2 Purple Hearts during his service. He was killed on July 16th after being gunned down at a military recruiting center in Chattanooga, Tennessee. On Friday, hundreds of people lined the streets of Sumner Avenue all the way here to Sampson's Chapel of the Acres as a tribute to Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan. There has been an outpouring of support from the community for both the family and Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan, a man many have called Springfield's own local hero. 22 News spoke with past and present members of the military who felt that they needed to be at Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan's wake today.
It's a brother that we lost, needless violence. One death is too many, and we've been losing a lot of brothers in arms and sisters in arms, and just sucks.
Western Mass in general has been responding overwhelmingly to this situation. As a Springfield native myself, this is my town honoring a hero, and it's heartwarming in that regard.
Funeral services are being held in Springfield today for Marine Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan of Springfield, who was shot and killed at the Navy Support Center in Chattanooga, Tennessee. 22 News reporter Kate Walsh is live in Springfield at Holy Cross Church, where the funeral is wrapping up.
We're live at Holy Cross Church in Springfield. The funeral just ended and the procession is still coming out of the church, so we're going to give you a live look at what's going on and try to be respectful here. The procession is now making its way to Massachusetts Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Agawam, where Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan will be laid to rest. Right now you're looking at people leaving the church. We saw many dignitaries, including Senator Elizabeth Warren, Governor Charlie Baker, Richard Neal, Congressman Richard Neal, among many Marines. Marines were pallbearers who brought out Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan's casket and put it into the hearse, which you see right here on the street still. Many of these motorcycles that you're looking at are volunteers who were here to make sure that this stayed a solemn ceremony and that it was respected by all. Now, this was a private funeral. It was attended only by family, friends, fellow Marines, and local leaders, but outside
dozens, if not hundreds of people lined the street here on Plumtree Road just to pay their respects. Many of them didn't know Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan. They just wanted to be here to show their support for the Sullivan family as fellow Springfield residents. 22 News will continue to follow the events today as we all remember the life of Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan, who will be laid to rest now at the cemetery in Agawam, and we will have live coverage from there as well, all starting on 22 News at 5 tonight. Live in Springfield, Kate Walsh, 22 News.
We continue our live team coverage right now. As Kate mentioned, the procession for Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan is headed to Agawam, where he'll be buried in the Veterans Memorial Cemetery. 22 News reporter Ryan Walsh is live in Agawam as they await the arrival of the procession.
In the last 15 minutes or so, members of the Patriot Guard Riders and active members of the military have lined the green here, or the ellipse, at the Agawam Veterans Memorial Cemetery to salute and show their support once this funeral procession does arrive. Along Main Street, there's about 1,000 people out there to show their support to the family of Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan. Agawam Veterans Memorial Cemetery will be his final resting place. The funeral will be private inside the chapel. There are a few readings there, and the body will then be buried on the grounds here. We do expect a few hundred Marines to line this ellipse as well during the funeral. The Honor Guard will have a 21-gun salute followed by the playing of taps. Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan's tombstone is ready. He will be buried today, but it may be a few more days until the grounds settle, and if you wanted to visit his grave and pay your respects, if you're a member of the public, it may be a few days before it may be appropriate to do that. Once again, we're just waiting for the funeral procession to arrive here. They're leaving Springfield as we speak, and we will bring you that live on 22 News at noon as they arrive here at Agawam Veterans Memorial Cemetery. Reporting live in Agawam, Ryan Walsh, 22 News.
The services were held at Holy Cross Catholic Church. They were presided over by Bishop Mitchell Rosansky, and now the procession is leaving the church and heading over and across the river to the Memorial Cemetery on Main Street in Agawam. And this is a live look right now as the Springfield police officers continue to lead the way. Not only police officers, but also thousands of bikers are also there. They're not only there along the procession, but also at the cemetery as well. They expect about a few hundred Marines to be at the cemetery for the funeral. Most of this has been private by what the family had wanted, and you can understand that, but a lot of it is public, and it's given a chance for the public to show their love and support for the family, and also their respects to Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan. Many of these bikers are former Marines themselves, and they're there to pay their respects from all over the country. Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan was one of us. He grew up in Springfield. He went to Cathedral High School, went to church at Holy Cross Church, and now some of the cars of the procession as well as we wait for the hearse. Marine Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Sullivan on his final journey from Springfield to Agawam. We'll continue to follow this not only on the air but also online at WWLP.com.